I walked into my garage and I was taking out the garbage, and they audibly said to me, what would you be doing differently, or what would you do different if today was your last day? And authentically, there's two things that unfolded within that moment. One is that instant, like, oh, what if today is my last day? Like, are they giving me a warning? You know, what's going on here? And then also there was a part of me that also, which again, as soon as I say it, I feel the fear in my body. And then there's another part of me that was recognizing that I was being invited to be very present and mindful to my choices, to my thoughts, to how I was savoring the moment and savoring those that I was being blessed to be with. So in the moment, I was playing with my son. So it was an invitation with my son and my daughter to really savor being present with them. And what's happening is that this song is being sung. This is being invited for all of us. Like, what if today was your last day? Now, it's not about being healthy or unhealthy, but I want you to notice, right? If that was a question you started your day with tomorrow, there's going to be some of you who are going to be led through fear. And there's some of you that are going to be led into opening your hearts. What does that mean? That question can trigger different emotions based on where you're at, how you're feeling, and what stories you have attached with that idea and that question. Maybe there's been experiences where a death happened, right? So it triggered like, oh, like that was the last day, right? So if I say that emotion, it might trigger sadness, like the weight of it. Like, what if today is my last day? How would I show up differently? And what happens is that some of you who have that filter of fear will start going into the conversations, well, I must do this and that, and I got to take care of this person and that person. I was like, so there's like this, it's fear driven, right? So the savoring of like this being your last day is being muted. And the gift of the question, the gift of the invitation is not being truly taken in. It's not being received. And in the podcast, I talked about this, that I experienced a lot of death when I was a child. And even though I saw them in spirit, I saw the pain that it caused family, and I felt the pain of losing someone, right? Physically not even being able to hold them. So what happened to me, the narrative that I had for a long time is that, especially when I would say goodbye to my dad, my brother, my mom, like people that I loved, I literally felt this horrible weight of like, oh, what if this is the last time? So the positive of that is that it would push me to make sure that I would tell them that I love them, apologize if I needed to apologize. Like it was like me doing my best to be who I felt I needed to be to make sure that I didn't regret, right? But unfortunately, there was also a lot of fear with that. And I don't want to call it anxiety, but there was a weight. And I remember that sometimes I would even just cry at the thought, like, oh my gosh, this could be the last time that I get to see them. So that was being fear-based. It was fear-driven, right? It was being pulled by fear itself, which wasn't offering me the opportunity, because of my decision with that it wasn't offering me the opportunity to savor the moment, like truly enjoy it. I was doing out of what I think and thought I should be doing so that it would be done the best way versus just savoring it. Let's go to those that when I say that question, if you start your day asking like, what if today was my last day? And some of you are going to go into a beautiful heart opening and you're going to be like, wow, I'm really going to savor today, right? I'm really going to play. I'm really going to be loving. I'm really going to just let myself be guided. I'm really going to tell everyone that I love and know that I care about, that I love them. I want to hear their voice and I want them to hear my voice. And it's like, I'm going to sing, I'm going to skip, I'm going to enjoy a sunrise. Like there's so many different choices that are going to show up when your heart is open. and this last week and a half, and it will continue for the next few weeks, is that this question is being sung by your soul. Your soul is asking, like, what if today was your last day? What would you do different? But your soul is singing that question, and that invitation is being delivered out of the place of excitement and joy and an open heart. Like, what if today was your last day? Like, what would you do today? What would you choose to do instead? What thoughts would you be feeding? What emotions would you be savoring? What kind of love would you be offering to yourself and other people? What would you do with circumstances and situations that in the past might have triggered frustration? What would you do with that? Would it be worth your second, your minute, your moment? Would it be worth your time? So the invitation here for this month is for you to open up your heart into this question, into this invitation, into this gift that our soul collectively is offering to all of us. So in a deeper level, some of you who have been feeling anxiety or overwhelmed, whatever it might be, which again, I felt it. Some of us on a deeper level are hearing this question and we're going one way versus the other. So my invitation is, what definition can you give, or what permission, sorry, they're correcting me. What permission can you give yourself today when you lean into that thought? Not because you're being told today's your last day, like be afraid and protect yourself, but today may be your last day. Open your heart to receive, to share, to love, and give of yourself. And for those of you, which at times includes me, because when it's interesting, because when I was having this discussion in the podcast, right, at the idea of like, what if today was the last day? I felt my dad touch my head. So for those that don't know, my dad passed in 2019. My best friend passed in 2019, and my stepsister passed in 2019. And even when loved ones cross over, they're always by our side. Even if we can't touch them, embrace them, or tell them we love them, they're always with us. And part of their purpose as they hold our hand from the other side is telling us that, like, what if today's your last day? Like, savor it. Because one thing I get shown, like my dad, I see it through my dad, I see it through my best friend, I see it through people who crossed over. And even when I work with people and I'm helping them connect to the loved ones on the other side, is that soul, part of their purpose is to love you from the other side. Part of their purpose is to support you from the other side. Part of their purpose is to inspire you to see the gift of your day, to see the gift of your breath, to see the gift that life is giving you today. Because there's a lot of things that are part of our yesterday and our history that are irrelevant to today. But for some reason, our human brain creates this story that is relevant, and we bring it into today, we bring it into our tomorrow, and all it does is tangle us up to an old story that is no longer meant to be carried into our future. So if you were to open up with that question every day here for the next few weeks, especially the next few weeks, as energy is moving a certain way for us collectively, especially, right? If you were to play with the thought, the idea when you wake up, like, wow, I get to savor today because today might be the last day. How can I keep my heart open? How can I deliver myself? And how can I let myself receive and show up in a way that I can savor the gift of today, and also be the gift for someone else so that they can savor more of their day? And what I'm being shown is that these two things that are being invited by the soul collectively right now, like, do your best not to attach it to any old stories. There's a lot of metaphysical stories and a lot of like spiritual stories, which I can respect. They served a purpose. So for example, Mercury retrograde, which I know several of you listening, that might be a trigger. The idea that me saying that I don't fully embrace the idea that it's been given to us about Mercury retrograde. I think Mercury retrograde, whatever impact and influence it has, is an opportunity for us to go deeper and explore ourselves, which I know a lot of that is said, but I don't see some of the negating stories around it. Let's just say that. So the reason I'm saying this is because whether or not something's happening collectively that can be astrologically identified, which again, I really don't know. Authentically, I don't know. But what I do know is that, again, they are saying that there's been energy that's moving, and you're being invited to step outside the stories or the languaging that has been used in the past for you or from other people. Because there is this up-leveling that's happening for all of us on a soul level, intellectually, emotionally, that is inviting us to give new life to how we see the world and we see ourselves. We're being invited to redesign our languaging to be more supportive, for our languaging to be more supportive with our conversations that we're having with ourselves and what we're having with each other. Energy moved to that. And we're being asked to be more clear and open-hearted to the fact that we need to own that every day is a gift. Not because there's fear around this, but because we're being asked to be, whether you call yourself a light worker, a healer, a soul, whatever it is you want to identify, part of our purpose is to, right now at this time, give love more attention. We're being invited at this time, with everything that's going on, regardless of what's going on, for us to show up every day with an open heart. Regardless of what the history has been and the past has been, there's been a lot of things that might have happened in your life, including mine, that would make it safer to close our hearts and close ourselves and close and give stories and expectations around circumstances and have emotions triggered because that served in the past. But right now we're just being asked and invited for this time especially to stay with our hearts open, for us to redesign the languaging and the stories that we're telling ourselves and other people in a very easy way, an easy tool that can help us move into that space. So this is a tool, like they've been giving me this tool, literally asking me every day since Sunday. They did it yesterday, they did it today. What if today was your last day? What would you be doing instead, or how would you be responding?